Okay. Hat, check. Camera, check. Lights, check. Assassin's Creed figure, check. Tiny little Lego-esque purple figure, that's the subject of today's video. Check. Just in case you haven't guessed, I'm going to be doing a review of the Spyro Trilogy today. With that in mind, I have a bit of a different way of trying to categorize these games than some other YouTube channels out there. I usually try to give something either a good, bad, or meh rating. If you want to know a little bit more about that, I have a video out there explaining it a bit more. I will link that down below. But regardless, let's jump into it and start talking about Spyro, that's there. Let's start talking about Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So, a little bit of backstory. I actually haven't played the original PS1 Spyro games all that much. The only chance I got to, and this might sound weird to some of you, is at the dentist. The dentist usually had these little stations set up to try to occupy kids while they were either waiting for the dentist or waiting for their siblings to get done. And that was really the only chance that I ever got to play Spyro. And so with that limited play, when I saw this coming out, I was super excited to hear about it. So I won't be able to speak specifically on how it compares to the old game. From what I understand from other people reviewing it and just my research, it is very, very close to having all the sudden nuances and the controls of the old game, but I cannot speak on that specifically. But the other reason I was excited for this game is I just love platformers in general. I think the world needs a bit more platforming games, and this one is right up there with the best. With this Spyro game, it is a lot of clever level designs mixed with a beautiful art style that works really well for the game itself. If you love platforming games or just a massive collectathon, this is the game for you. Now, for those of you who may be scared by me saying a collectathon, this is an old school type of collectathon where since it's kind of the core mechanic, it doesn't really get in the way of gameplay, and it is actually a lot of fun to do. If you are one of the gaming perfectionists out there and you love to see 100% collected on multiple different screens, then this is also the game for you. There are hub worlds to start with, and then from the hub world you go into mini worlds within that hub world. And each of these sections has stuff to collect. Anything from gems, to dragons, to eggs, and in terms of just the first game, that is really it. The second and third games of Spyro Trilogy expand on that, but that is the core mechanic, is just exploring levels and collecting everything that you need to achieve that 100%. And other than that, there is really not much to this gameplay. You can either breathe fire on enemies or bash them to collect gems, which contribute to you getting 100%. And you just have to generally explore the level to find all the little hidden gems, eggs, and secrets, and dragons that you have to free. The level design here, as I mentioned earlier, is phenomenal. It is really kind of inspiring that they really did just recreate the original maps, because these original maps for a PlayStation 1 era game are not complex, but they have many different levels and areas that you have to pay attention to actually be able to find and reach. With the level design, there are also a few little puzzles that you can encounter throughout the levels as well. You have to jump on blocks to open something up, and it really just kind of goes on from there. Just tiny little puzzles that aren't too complicated to figure out. And that's really just all that the game has to offer. It is collecting items, solving puzzles to then collect more of the same items, and then collecting enough items to move on to the next world in the game. Which, this may sound super simplistic, but for me it was actually a welcome type of game at this point. For me personally, this game came along just at the perfect time, off of some of the big names like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, and with more games coming out soon. But this was just a nice, simple game that I could almost mindlessly just run through the levels, collect everything, and move on, providing plenty of entertainment along the way, just with the funny little characters and Spyro and the different dragons that you free. Each have their own unique personality, which even though they only have about a 5 to 10 second cameo, I really love each of them individually. And with all the good stuff, you may be wondering, well, what's the catch? Like, what's the downside? And I really have kind of touched on it already. If this doesn't sound like the type of game that you would be interested in, just collecting items and progressing through a world and a platformer, then this isn't really the game for you. It's not any groundbreaking type of game. And that is realistically the only downside to this game. For everyone else, it is a great nostalgia trip or just a fun platformer just to be able to collect everything. And so, with all of that said, I have to say that this is a good game, and I can recommend you going out and buying it right now. And plus, brand new, it's only $40, which you get 3 separate games for the price of less than one game, which works out pretty well in your favor. And if you are unsure if this is really the game for you, what I can recommend is going to my channel or even YouTube in general. I'm sure there are other people out there as well that have plenty of Spyro gameplay, but I have a live stream and just a video of me playing, no audio of me or anything. I will link those down below as well, so you can check those out to see if this would be a game for you. And as I said, if none of this sounds interesting to you, then this isn't really going to be the game for you, and unfortunately, that's really all there is to it. So you may be wondering what's going on with this little guy. I actually got him as a promotional item from GameStop, and let me tell you, it was a pain to build. I actually have a video up on YouTube as well. I will link that down below as well, so you guys can go check it out at your leisure if that's something that you would be interested in. But with that brings us to the end of this video. Leave any thoughts and comments down below, any questions. I will be talking with you guys down there. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you dislike the video, you can hit that thumbs down. I might be a bit sad, but I'm sure I will get over it. If you like what I'm doing and you want to see more of me, please hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell so you know when I put out new videos and when I stream and all that jazz. And with that, this is 3G Geek, signing off.